where the first participant to score a pinfall or submission will be the winner and will be named the #1 contender to the AAW Women's Championship.
Well, strong words from Eddie Kingston, but no answers to the mystery we were looking for. Eddie Kingston keeping his cards, his wild cards, close to his vest.
As a woman making her AAW return, it's been a while since we've seen Christi Jaynes in an AAW
Introducing
ring,
first,
but it's always a pleasure.
From Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, La Estrella de Lucha Libre, the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christi Jaynes.
As she's feeling her return here to 115 Bourbon Street, but not to take away from the awesome sight we're seeing in the ring right now. We got
some intruders.
You know, some La Sociedad dipshits coming out here to ruin the party, it seems.
I don't think they deserve that much respect. They got signs, and they apparently are resentful. I'm not saying that out loud, sir. The sexy
from your local skate park, Jody Threat.
As Jody Threat makes her way to the ring, she's a bit punk rock, a bit alternative, bit of a skater girl, and she has fled Canada to come here to the United States to continue her wrestling career. She's one of the ones affected by the border issues that were imposed during the pandemic. Jody Threat has been thirsting for the opportunity to compete for quite some time. And speaking of thirst, we got La Sociedad thirsting after themselves. Axel Rico has a sign about his own ass.
Well, he is an ass.
And
so
from Chicago, Illinois, Skye Blue.
As the upstart Skye Blue, we saw her put down high on.
Yeah, and that was an environment that I wasn't sure Skye Blue could overcome. It was I Quit rules. The Asai DDT was not going to work, but a painful, debilitating arm and shoulder submission. You could feel that shoulder practically separate on Hyon, and honestly, that loss sent Hyon to the UK to regroup. She's on tour right now. She's not here competing tonight, but Skye Blue is back in the saddle, back in focus, and looking to get a shot at Allison Kay, who, mind you, has been one of the biggest detractors of Skye Blue this entire time.
Winner of this contest gets that #1 contendership to the AAW Women's Championship at Destination Chicago in just a few weeks. Our return to our home, the Logan Square Auditorium. Tickets available at aawpro.com.
That'll be Thursday night, September the 2nd. It's going to kick off a absolutely insane wrestling weekend in Chicago where the entire world will be watching, and you never know who's going to show up or what's going to happen. These guys might even show up if our security's lax.
Given our bad luck, La Sociedad Boricua is going to be on the side of the guardrail that they should be on.
Think about all the people that might be in Logan Square Auditorium that could beat the crap out of these guys.
There's a lot of them. So you got Jody Threat, Christi Jaynes, and Skye Blue facing off here. Winner, yet again, is the #1 contender for the AAW Women's Championship as Jody Threat goes head first into the boot of Christi Jaynes and the Brazilian Wonder Woman with a drop down. Skye Blue now hits the ropes. Wheelbarrow caught into an arm drag. Jaynes sent halfway across the ring. Springboard into another arm drag, an Alita variety this time. Step up knee strike. Skye Blue wasting little time, realizing she's not getting paid by the hour as Jaynes evades that attack and Skye Blue crashes to the mat.
Skye Blue is so great at stringing offense together and building that momentum. And Jody Threat looking to play spoiler and does so successfully into the cover. I think Jody Threat, Tyler, has the most to gain from this matchup. We haven't seen her in quite some time. She's fallen off the rankings, and she's been just hungering for an opportunity to get back in the ring.
She's an athlete who has had an opportunity at the AAW Women's Championship before. She almost defeated Chris Statlander for that championship.
And now she's touring the country. Jody and Dodger do America. Dodger's her dog, her mascot, been along with the Journeys over the past few months in the United States. And imagine if she can add championship gold. That's a little bit ahead of ourselves, but it's certainly in her crosshairs as Skye Blue down the Northern Lights release. And check out the focus in the eyes, but only a count of one.
That was determination, and that was me saying, Allison Kay, Melanie Cruz, I don't care which one of you it is, I'm coming for you at Destination Chicago.
I mean, we could see, this is a wide open field in this matchup. We could see Melanie Cruz win the Women's Championship a little later tonight. We could have a matchup September 2nd, Destination Chicago, quite unlike what anything in the rankings would dictate now.
I mean, if you were to put odds on any of this right now, I mean, the odds-on favorite probably is Allison Kay versus
Jaynes,
Skye Blue.
a roll-up, 2 count only.
They would be the odds-on favorite
I
for
think
what that matchup would be.
That'd be the Vegas money match.
Just based on AAW history.
I think that's a match we want to see. I think any combination delivers to hit.
I think Jody Threat versus Melanie Cruz would be the hardest hitting contest that the AAW Women's Division's ever seen. I think Christi Jaynes brings an X factor to the women's division, a stylistic matchup against any competitor that makes her an X factor in any contest that she's ever going to be in.
Hey, Christi Jaynes, Rio de Janeiro native. A lot of crazy history's been made in Rio de Janeiro in the history of this business. You never know what's going to happen. And Jody Threat right now, I think Jody Threat's style fits the unorthodox nature of a three-way better than any of her adversaries.
Oh, absolutely. It's you hit hard, you hit fast, you hit whatever's in your way.
You stack them up, you charge in, and parry the knees right into the shoulder blades of Skye Blue, and a German release right in the back of her head.
Now Jody Threat in firm control, crawling over for that cover. Might have put a little bit too much energy into those strikes.
And
as
there
we
you
have,
see.
of course, our visitors, La Sociedad Boricua. They are active members of the AAW roster, so either on the side of the guardrail, why they should be, I don't understand.
Well, I understand this. Somersault senton by Jody Threat. And listen, La Sociedad Boricua could try to make this about them, try to steal the spotlight, but we got 3 world-class athletes that are putting it all on the line out here, and to me, that's where the focus should be.
I will give Jody Threat $50 American to bash La Sociedad's head.
That's like 150 Canadian now.
Oh, man, my word.
And I'll chip in on that, sure. Jody Threat and Skye Blue. Hey, Ace Perry's not here. I gotta direct my aggression at somebody. But Jody Threat on the receiving end. No, reversal.
Able to reverse it. Oh my God.
Fans getting up close in the action here.
Pay for the front row ticket, take home a wrestler.
And again, this is a different environment that we haven't seen Skye Blue in, much like the I Quit matchup was. How will she?
Watch out for that pole.
Yeah, easier said than done. Blue may be knocked out.
Christi Jaynes, Christi Jaynes just deadlifting Jody Threat over the guardrails. We're going to do our best to keep up with this action.
We're not taking
long to break down.
But as you can tell,
we are at capacity here at 115 Bourbon Street.
Then how did the Boricua sneak in?
They're on the roster.
Fine. I don't want to admit that.
Oh, runs right into the kick of Skye Blue and now eats that elbow. Christi Jaynes eating those strikes of Skye Blue. Jody Threat down on the outside, far, far away from the action at hand. And now Jaynes looking to make Jody Threat join her. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, Skye Blue paid dearly. Jaynes got the better of that situation. Jaynes has been able to divide and conquer this matchup. Awkward landing for Blue, and obviously there's no protection out there.
And what it looks like just off of gear colors, as I can see Jody Threat, this environment's going to favor her more than anybody.
Well, Jody Threat is wild, she's untamed, but we're seeing a different side of Jaynes and Blue as well. And we're doing our best to follow those sides.
As the action heats up here at 115 Bourbon Street, once again, we'd like to thank every single one of you fans for joining us here on Fight.tv as we present Savages and Kings. Main event of the evening, of course, the new AAW champion, Fred Yehi, versus Eddie Kingston. We don't know who the partners are going to be.
We know that Yehi refused to put the title on the line against Eddie Kingston, thought that he, a 2-time former champion, wasn't deserving, and met Kingston's challenge with one of his own. And Yehi and Kingston both have a, to use an outdated term, a very deep Rolodex of contacts that they could draw from, and certainly 20 years of history in AAW as well. you never know who might be here that hasn't been here in a little bit.
What we do know is later on tonight that ring's going to have to be reinforced because the baddest MFer in the world, Shaft, going up one-on-one against Jake Sumter.
We may need to reinforce the bar before we get there.
As the action spilling onto the bar, I got my eyes on Christi Jaynes.
Tyler's going to climb on a chair in a second.
I see Skye Blue. I'm only 4'5", brother, you know. Christi Jaynes playing pandering to the crowd here.
Jaynes is feeling 10 feet tall.
Things are going to end bad for somebody on top of this bar top. We still don't know where Jody Threat's at. Oh, Christi Jaynes suplexed onto the bar.
This is how bad these athletes want this. This is how much they're putting on the line. There's no blood feud here. There's no grudge. This is just the hope of a shot at the AAW Women's Championship at Destination Chicago.
When a championship means as much to you as the AAW Women's Championship does, you're going to put your body on the line. You're going to do whatever you can to gain the potential of that championship. As here we go, Jody Threat in firm control of this contest, dragging.
And Tyler, it's not only about the championship. This guarantees you a spot in Logan Square Auditorium as part of one of the most historic wrestling weekends Chicago's ever seen. And you can go back to Marigold Arena, Rosemont Horizon, anything you want. This weekend will surpass anything else.
Threat now and Skye Blue back into the ring. As Jody Threat, charges in, eats the boot of Skye Blue. Skye Blue now perching herself on that second rope, high cross body, caught, and now Jody laughing, and that sadistic laugh turns into a hellacious smile.
On your fault. You gotta have a sinister side to react like that in an outlet and an environment this physical. Nice senton. Another near fall. And the thing is, I think Jody is so fearless. She's not afraid to hurt herself. She's not afraid to hurt others. She's not afraid to get down and dirty, as it were, to get the job done here. Skye Blue, let's face it, she's soft-spoken in many respects. She's respectful. She loves technique. She loves to dazzle us with her offense, but she's not a bar fighter.
Trying to counter that power bomb and able to turn it into a Skye Blue. Nothing doing, though. Jody Threat eats the boots to the face.
There's some of that energy. And Christi Jaynes is still recovering somewhere.
She got suplex on that bar top.
This could be, prime time to end this matchup here. With one adversary not in the ring, they can't break up the fall. Skye Blue or Jody Threat have to act fast.
And a handspring European uppercut. Now driving Jody Threat headfirst into that top turnbuckle. Skye Blue pandering to the crowd here. Really has become the crowd favorite here in AAW. And there into the outside. Eats that forearm and crashes to the floor.
Skye Blue's become that favorite by succeeding where others have told her she couldn't. And those are two of her biggest credits. Look at that sign. That's
yes!
Yes! Thank God. De La Vega is dazed and offended and couldn't believe that Skye Blue stood up for herself. Hell yeah!
Ripping up the sign and giving the double bird salute to Axel Rico.
And now Skye Blue's beating the hell out of both Bariquas in the middle of a #1 contenders match.
Oh God! And there is a deep-rooted history here.
Yeah.
It was Skye Blue and Jossie that defeated La Sociedad Dipshits on AAW Alive. As Jody Threat getting involved now.
Jody doesn't like what's happening. She doesn't want to win like this.
And a slam onto the floor.
Yeah, it's their spotlight. It's their time. They don't want intruders.
Though, the Brazilian Wonder Woman perching herself on the top rope. Are you kidding? Christi Jaynes with a moonsault to the floor.
This is empowerment. This is women's wrestling standing up for itself and saying, damn it, we belong.
This is savages and kings. And the king doesn't have to be a man. These three athletes proving it here tonight at 115 Bourbon Street.
But only one could be #1 contender. Only one can be watching with bated breath as Allison Kay and Melanie Cruz tangle later tonight. And it could be Christi Jaynes, who's had a remarkable recovery.
The Brazilian Wonder Woman has her on the shoulders. Looking to spin her out. No! Spear from Jody Threat!
And Jody got 2 for the price of 1. Can Jody finish this off?
Now hoisting Christi Jaynes onto her shoulders. And Christi Jaynes is in a bad way. Spins her out, spins her down. Sit out powerbomb. New #1 contender has been crowned.
11 minutes, 42 seconds. Your winner and the #1 contender to the AAW Women's Championship, Jody Threat.
Well, Jody Threat lives up to her last name, comes from being inactive for the past 18, 19 months or so to becoming the #1 contender with how unorthodox she is, how determined she is. She's wanted this for so long, moved up to Canada. Jody Threat makes herself a threat to whoever comes out tonight as Women's Champion.
Jody Threat now the #1 contender to what is becoming the most sought-after prize for the women's division. And now taking it to pre-recorded comments from the AAW Women's Champion,